12 Years That Shook the World tells true stories from Holocaust history that may not be suitable for everyone. This episode includes testimonies describing gun violence, sexual violence, and violence against women and children. Previously, on 12 Years That Shook the World, on the eve of Rosh Hashanah in September of 1941, German authorities order all Jewish people in Eyshishok to report to the synagogues by nightfall.
We felt danger. We did not know what, but we felt danger.
Leon's family splits up. He and his brother hide on a barn roof. Miriam escapes town. Zvi and his family are forced into the synagogues along with thousands of other Jews.
The yelling and the screaming and the crying from the children was so terrible.
After days of agony in the synagogues, the Germans and their Lithuanian collaborators force all Jews to walk to a field at the edge of town where Jews are imprisoned. Soon the guards begin marching away groups of Jewish men and teenage boys, telling them they're going to build a ghetto and do forced labor. But when gunshots echo in the distance, more fear spreads among the Jewish community. And hours later, only one group of Jewish men and teenage boys remains in the field. It's Zvi's group. They're next to be marched away. From the US Holocaust Memorial Museum, I'm Erin Harper. This is 12 Years That Shook the World. Episode 4, A Matter of Savagery. Zvi and his family huddle at the far end of the fenced-in field, including his father Manny, his mother, and his younger brother David, who's about 14. David clings to his mother's side. Now the guards come for them. Zvi and his father Manny are forced to stand and line up with others. People are crying and praying. Then, at gunpoint, the guards begin to march Zvi's group out from the field. Here's historian Dr. J. Luke Ryder.
While they're being marched away, Zvi's younger brother sees them leaving the area and runs from his mother's side to their group. He doesn't want to be separated from his father. He doesn't want to be separated from his older brother.
Also in Zvi's group is one of the rabbis of Eyshishok, Rabbi Zushe, who taught Zvi Torah as a boy. The rabbi begins to pray. As they're marched through the streets, Zvi sees his non-Jewish neighbors watching this unfold. He thinks they look pleased.
You could see the satisfaction on their face.
The dogs circle endlessly. If any of the Jewish men or boys step out of line, the dogs attack. The Germans and their Lithuanian collaborators curse at Jews and beat them with clubs.
And in these moments, the time seems to slow. The violent blows from the Lithuanians and Germans chase them about a half mile to the site of the old Jewish cemetery in Eyshishok.
As Zvi approaches the old Jewish cemetery, he sees what has happened. He now knows that this is where all the Jewish men and teenage boys had been taken. There is no ghetto. There is no forced labor. The Germans had lied. Here, a deep pit has been dug in the ground, and inside the pit lie the bodies of the hundreds of Jewish men and teenage boys who'd been marched away. People Zvi knew, his friends, teachers, stripped naked and shot to death. Murdered. And all around the pit, Germans and their Lithuanian collaborators grip their guns.
The air became so heavy.
And he starts to notice piles of clothes and piles of shoes around the area, and there's more shouting, and then they're being forced to undress.
Zvi is told to remove his clothes and add them to the massive pile before him. The shoes, shirts, pants, and jackets that he had seen his neighbors and friends wearing just hours before. Standing alongside the pit are local non-Jewish men. Some hold shovels, some watch, others guard the perimeter or sort through the piles of clothing. Then Zvi sees the Nazi sitting on a barrel with a rifle across his lap. Zvi thinks he looks relaxed, sitting patiently like a hunter watching his prey. The Nazi is supervising the scene. This man is one of the members of a killing squad that Nazi German leaders had sent to Eyshishok. He, along with the other Nazis that stormed into Eyshishok this week, are attempting to kill every Jew in Eyshishok and every Jew in German-occupied Lithuania. The Nazis' hatred has driven them to murder Jewish people en masse at point-blank range. Now, at gunpoint, the guards force Zvi towards the pit.
In Zvi's mind, in his memory, he is suddenly standing in a line at the edge of a pit. And on his right is his father, and then on his father's right is his brother. And also in their line is the rabbi from Zvi's synagogue.
Zvi hears his beloved rabbi's voice.
And he's praying, and he's reciting a passage from Psalm 91 in the Hebrew Bible, and it's one that Zvi remembers from his many times in the synagogue.
The rabbi recites the psalm. 1,000 will fall on your left, and on your right 10 times 1,000, and it will not affect you.
So as they're standing there, he's hearing this psalm, and then his father, Manny, leans toward him and repeats, you will survive. You will survive. Don't have any fear. You will live, and you will take revenge.
But Zvi can't imagine how he could survive this.
You'll survive. You'll survive. I say, what is talking? What kind of what I'm a splits of a seconds, the machine guns, are you going to, I'll be alive? He says again to me, you will survive.
And then the guns fire. And in this moment, Manny's left arm pulls Zvi tight as they fall into the pit. Zvi lands on his back, and his father on top of him.
Minutes go by, and then hours go by, and he's hearing more shots and cries, and he wonders if he's dead.
Gradually, Zvi notices that he's covered in blood, but it's not his blood. It's his father's and his brother's blood from their gunshot wounds. Zvi finds that he, too, is wounded. On the side of his neck, there's a gash where a bullet had grazed him. Zvi thinks maybe his father's arm had absorbed the bullet that was meant for him. And Zvi realizes he's actually alive.
And then I don't know, time, I cannot explain time, how long it took me to realize I'm alive.
And lying on his back, he can't really see much except the sky. He can't see the landscape around him. But after a while, he notices that the area is quiet.
So he decides to escape. He makes his way to the edge of the mass grave and climbs out.
Immediately, he breaks into a sprint. For just a minute, he stops and he looks back towards the scene around the cemetery, and he suddenly wonders if maybe his father or his brother are running behind him. And then he realizes that they're not.
Zvi turns away, naked and covered in blood. He runs off into the night. But here in the cemetery, almost every Jewish man and teenage boy of Eyshishok is left behind in a mass grave. More than 1,000 human beings murdered. Eyshishok's rabbis, fathers, grandfathers, sons, the shtettl's firefighters, a town shoemaker named Yankel, the carpenter, Reb Gedalia, a tailor named Shaul, innkeepers, scholars. These men are denied a proper Jewish burial. Their bodies are neither ritually cleansed nor shrouded. There is no memorial prayer recited at the grave. Here's historian Dr. Edna Friedberg.
They were humiliated, they were exposed, they were brutalized, and then they are buried in a mass grave, an unmarked mass grave.
A mile away, the young brothers, Leon and Benjamin, still hide on the roof of a barn. And as night falls, the boys hear something they don't expect, people laughing and partying.
And they could hear Germans and some Lithuanians nearby partying all night, drinking, cheering, just in a great mood.
It's coming from a woman's house nearby. She's hosting a party for the Germans and their collaborators. Leon thinks it sounds like they're celebrating, but Leon and Benjamin have no idea why they're celebrating. Because the boys don't know what has just happened to the Jewish men and teenage boys at the old Jewish cemetery. The last time they had any information was several days ago when the family split up, when most Jewish people in Eyshishok were forced into the synagogues. Now, with the Germans and Lithuanians so close by, the boys fear they might be discovered if they stay on the roof much longer.
They don't know where to go, they don't know who to trust, but they just know they cannot be seen, and they have to hide.
They slowly climb down the side of the barn. They slip through the garden, between the houses, and past the neighbor's party. They take off running. Meanwhile, back in the fenced-in field, more than 2,000 Jewish women and children remain imprisoned, and the armed guards stand watch. The women and children are terrified. They have no food, no water. Tonight, they sit in agony, wondering what has happened to their husbands, fathers, brothers, and sons after they were marched away. Some women in the field perhaps believe or want to believe that the men are, in fact, building a ghetto. Like the Germans had said, like that letter had said, and that their whole families would be reunited. But all day, those gunshots rang out, echoing through town. So many other women know in their hearts that their men and teenage boys are already gone. That every Jewish man they had known, loved, or even passed in town had been murdered. Now the question is, what will happen to them, the women and the children? There among the crowd is Zvi's mother and 3 sisters, as well as Leon's mother, sister, and grandmother. Leon's father had escaped town a few days back because initially Leon's mother had believed the women and children would remain unharmed and that only men needed to hide. But now, after 4 days and nights of torment, how can the women and children be sure that they'll be safe?
So the female members of Leon's family are in this fenced-in field, awaiting they don't know what, but they know it cannot be good. And there is a local policeman, a Lithuanian man, who approaches the fence, and he recognizes them. They had previously had some friendly relations between the family. This man, apparently, according to Leon, had also previously expressed anti-Jewish feelings, anti-Semitic feelings, and yet he comes there looking to help.
The policeman's wife had sent him. She heard about what was happening to Jewish people in Eyshishok, and she wanted her husband to find Leon's family and help them escape. So in the dark, this policeman approaches the field, and through the tall wooden fence planks, he asks around for Leon's family. Leon's mother comes to the fence. This policeman tells her to gather her family. They're getting out.
So this Lithuanian man, and he's a policeman, so he has some authority, is able to pull them out from the crowd, pull them out from this terrified mass of people.
Leon's mother, sister, and grandmother quietly crawl out between 2 broken fence planks. The policeman leads them. as they dash through a meadow and out of Eyshishok. Miriam's mother, too, is in the field. And also on this night, a Polish woman comes to rescue Miriam's mother. The woman is someone she knows through her family business. But Miriam's mother is too afraid to run away because the armed guards are watching. Paralyzed with fear, she cannot move. But the Polish woman insists. She climbs into the field through a broken part of the fence and wraps a scarf around Miriam's mother to disguise her. The woman physically kicks her out of the field, and on the way out, the Polish woman bribes a Lithuanian guard, gives him a little something to turn the other way and keep quiet, as the two women run away. Across town, Leon and Benjamin are also on the move.
They are completely exhausted. They're exhausted from lack of food, they're exhausted from running, and they're exhausted from fear.
It's almost morning, and the boys need to hide before dawn. Leon remembers the Catholic cemetery just outside of town.
We decided to go to the Catholic cemetery and hide at the Catholic cemetery because the Catholic cemetery was the last place in the world that anybody's going to look for anybody.
They keep running, crossing a river and stumbling through fields. Finally, they reach the Catholic cemetery and go through the gate. There's a wall 3 feet high that surrounds the cemetery. And next to it, tall grass, overgrown vines, and bushes. The boys lie down near the wall, hiding among the bushes. And just as the sun is coming up, they fall asleep. But just hours later, they're jolted awake.
They wake up because they hear screaming.
Leon and Benjamin look out at the road in the distance.
And they see lines of women and children, hundreds and hundreds of women and kids, approaching the cemetery and being marched to a gravel pit.
Leading the processions are Germans and Lithuanian guards. They approach a steep gravel quarry, a deep ditch normally used to mine sand and gravel, right beside the cemetery. Leon realizes these are the Jewish women and children from Eyshishok.
And they got closer, we started seeing people that we knew them all.
Benjamin and Leon are searching the crowd, hoping to catch a glimpse of their mom, their sister, their grandma. They don't see them. They don't know what's happened to them.
But Leon sees his aunt, Reba, his cousin Sarah, and his neighbors from the market square. Also there are Zvi's mother and 3 sisters, along with more than 2,000 other women and children. Leon and Benjamin are frozen with fear. The Lithuanian guards separate the mothers from their young children.
The women are forced to strip naked.
The guards force a group of women to line up and march towards the gravel pit. Some of the Lithuanian guards pull young women away from the crowd behind some bushes, where the guards rape and sexually assault them. Then the guards push these young women back in line at the edge of the gravel pit. Leon stares at the scene.
And he watched as the local Lithuanian helpers took women in groups and shot them into the pit. Just shot them and let their bodies fall.
I didn't know what to do. I was jumping out of my skin completely. Should I jump down? Should I do something? What could I do? I was completely helpless.
And also knowing that if he sticks his head up too high, he will join them in the pit.
And Leon notices dozens of local people standing nearby.
The place was loaded with Polish farmers or Polish people from the city standing around watching what was going on. And they gave them shovels. And after they shot, let's say, 100 people, they told them to go down there and cover the bodies.
Leon keeps scanning the crowd for his mother, sister, and grandmother, but they're nowhere to be found. He sees his Aunt Reba get shot and fall into the pit, along with his cousin Sarah. Watching the killers, Leon wonders, how could they commit such brutal crimes? He says to his brother,
Do they know what they are doing? Those are human beings that they are killing.
While the Germans supervise the scene, Lithuanian guards keep lining up rows of women. It goes on, hour after hour. Benjamin buries his face, sobbing.
My brother was grabbing me and trying to drag me down. Don't look, don't look. And I kept saying, I got to look. I got to see it. I got to see it.
He watches until the last Jewish woman of Eyshishok falls.
and they started killing all the children.
These are such hellish scenes.
It wasn't a matter just of executing and killing people. It was a matter of savagery.
Hours later, it's over, and suddenly, it's quiet. The Nazis had carried out their plan in Eyshishok. By nightfall on September 26, 1941, the near entirety of the Jewish community of Eyshishok now lies murdered in 2 mass graves on the outskirts of town. In a matter of 2 days, more than 3,000 Jewish people had been wiped out.
A whole place, a whole society, a whole community is just being obliterated. Every friend, every sibling, no one. It's just this void. They had relationships, they had hopes, they had families, they had loves, they made promises, and those all went into the earth with them.
Eyshishok's mothers, grandmothers, daughters, the shtetl photographer, Alta, a seamstress named Rachel, Zvi and Leon's schoolteacher named Gottberg, a little girl who loved to garden.
If someone died, if someone was killed, and everyone who had ever known her was also killed. Is it as though that girl never existed? If no one is alive to say the memorial prayer for her, if no one is alive to remember her name, there's a certain horror in the vacuum of it that transcends any one death.
But against the odds, some have survived. After Zvi crawled out of the mass grave, he ran several miles straight to the farm of his mother's Polish friends, Yuzha and her brother. They take Zvi inside and give him a place to sleep. Back in the Catholic cemetery, Leon and Benjamin are still in shock from what they just witnessed. And now, once again, they have to hide. Leon remembers a woman, Mrs. Karolova. She's his family's Polish friend who lives in the countryside. So after the killers are gone, Leon and Benjamin run away through the fields towards Mrs. Karolova's house. She brings them clean clothes and serves them milk and bread with honey. Leon can hardly speak.
I was out of my mind completely.
Mrs. Karolova hurries them into her barn to stay overnight, but Leon can't sleep. The massacre of the women and children is burned into his mind. Miriam, too, is in hiding. Days earlier, when Jewish people in Eyshishok were forced into the synagogues, Miriam fled to the home of the farmer named Korkuch, the Polish Catholic man who had agreed to hide her. And after Miriam's mother was rescued from the field, she also found her way there and is now with Miriam in hiding. Korkuch brings them news of the massacre in Eyshishok.
Still we were hoping maybe there are some, they didn't kill everybody. Maybe they sent some to work. We couldn't believe it. No Jews in town, not one left. They killed everybody.
Zvi, Miriam, and Leon wonder, what happens now? All around them, the Germans remain in control. The Nazi killing squads continue going from town to town on their hateful, murderous quest as the Nazis attempt to destroy all traces of Jewish life across Eastern Europe. Now, Zvi, Miriam, and Leon go on the run. Coming up on 12 years that shook the world.
They had to worry that a neighbor, a friend, would tell on them to the German authorities.
He said, I went to sleep. I had a very bad dream and I came to take you out from the ghetto. And you have to get out.
And even in all of this death and extremity that's surrounding them, they have this kind of romantic feeling for each other.
But they were coming like an avalanche.
And he said, I want to live to tell the world what had happened to us.
From the US Holocaust Memorial Museum, I'm Erin Harper. Joining me were historians at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, Dr. Edna Friedberg, Dr. Lindsay MacNeill, and Dr. J. Luke Ryder. Our show is written and produced by me. Our story is researched by Meredith Guay, with additional research by Dr. Lindsay MacNeill, as well as Claire Cronin, and historian Dr. William Meineke. We offer a special thank you to Dr. Simon Goldberg and Hannah G. Green. This story is informed by the work of historian Dr. Yafa Eliach. Some oral history interviews are from the US Holocaust Memorial Museum's collection as a gift from Jeff Bieber, including Miriam Kabacznik Schulman from 1997, Leon Kahn from 1998, and Zvi Michaeli from 1997 and 1999. An interview with Miriam Kabacznik Schulman from 1996 is a gift from Randy M. Goldman. You can watch these testimonies online in the museum's collection. Other interviews of Miriam Kabacznik Schulman from 1998, Leon Kahn from 1996, and Zvi Michaeli from 1996 are from the archive of the USC Shoah Foundation, the Institute for Visual History and Education. For more information, visit sfi.usc.edu. Leon Kahn's interview from 1982 is from the Montreal Holocaust Museum. For a complete bibliography for our story and for more resources, look for the link in the episode show notes or visit ushmm.org/12 years podcast. This podcast is funded in part by support from the Crown Family Philanthropies, the Joyce and Irving Goldman Family Foundation, Walmart Foundation, and from the Judd, Randy, Stephen, and Barry Mulkin families. Music and sound design by Salt Audio. Lead editor and sound effects by Aaron Kennedy. Listeners, we need your help to make 12 Years That Shook the World even better. We want to hear from you. What resonates? What moves you? And what do you think of our latest season? Look for the survey link in the episode show notes or send an email to podcast@ushmm.org. If you like our show, follow us on your favorite podcast app and share our podcast with others. Thank you for listening.